probably. Yeah. But either way, let's take a look at the actual maps, though. Speaking of places to be, let's see where we're going to actually play on, what the bans are.
We'll go for the picks. There you go. I might, actually, now that I realize, I might need to change my name to Milosh the Cleaner. Because I look like, you know, Mr. What is it? I said it's Monsieur Propre in French. I don't remember what it was in English.
Well, there's a Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean, there you go. Yeah, Matt Andrews. There you go. Solved. Fixed.
All right, well, there's already some bans going out. Bank, Coastline Border, Clubhouse. That leaves just Oregon. That should be an interesting one for these two. And Team 1 starting on defense. They have a 100% win rate, as you can see, whereas Liquid do not have a 100% win rate on this. That means this must have been either the one they tied or the one they lost. You know, they have one loss and one tie.
This is the one they tied on.
That's right. Okay.
So they lost last week on Consulate versus FaZe Clan, and this is the one that they tied on. But this is Oregon is the map that famously big teams go to die on.
And not to mention, Team 1 have played this twice and have that 100% win rate. And that is different because most of the time when we see the 100% on there, it's off of playing it once. The fact that they've played it twice, won it twice, have failed to even tie on it, definitely means Liquid to have a bit of an uphill battle here. Yeah,
and if you're Liquid right now, you have to keep this in mind. You're going to the Paris Major in 10 days, basically.
Ooh, so they might want to be careful on the strats they use,
Exactly. You don't really want to show off too many strategies. I mean, Oregon is kind of a map that things have really been...
You could play pretty fluid on just because everyone knows the map so well at this point.
But the specific strategies, like we've seen certain teams trying to put a Finca there in the place.
It works sometimes.
You might not want to put all the strategies out there just in case you get sniped off of those.
Or you could just use this as a way to try out some new ideas that you may or may not use, just to get an idea if it works or not. Because unlike a scrim, you know the other team is taking it very seriously. And in a scrim, sometimes teams don't take it seriously enough. Sometimes they're just looking for ideas. So this could be a case where they could learn a lot from playing against Team 1.
All right, we'll take a look at the community vote to see what you guys think about this, and I wonder how skewed this one will be.
Wow, that is...
They're closer to the draw percentage, but they're 1% off of it.
It's like the people that did these votes did not see the standings. To see that there was 1 point difference between these two teams.
They are so tight right now.
I know you may not recognize Team 1 as a strong team, but 12 points versus 13. And that's a 13 that was a very strong 13. They'd won all of their matches until a tie and a loss. And Team 1 are 1 point behind that. So I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit closer than that. There's a chance that Team 1 could win this based off the stats that we saw of the map itself. The fact that Liquid are less likely to use their top-tier strats. This is one where I would say, at the very least, leans closer to 50-50.
Yeah, and keep in mind that Team 1 played 6 games. They won 4 of them. They lost 2 of them. And 2 of those wins were on Oregon, as you just saw. So, pretty tough. Pretty tough to say the least.
Yeah. We'll see how this fares. Of course, there's a good chance it could be the draw rather than like a 50-50. But either way, it is a best of 1. So it'll be whoever can come out ahead first on this. Generally, we'll set it up. Usually, of course, if one team can bring it to 5 and then the other team's forced to tie it best, that's very likely what we'll see here. Although there's a case where if one of the teams is just having an off day,
it happens.
Get caught off guard.
It happens to everyone. It even happens on LAN. So. You know,
should be interesting though. I'm definitely interested to see this matchup just because of being the top 2, because Team 1 have been showing such strength. It's a good chance for them to actually continue to do so, because if they can leap to the top of the leaderboard going into the second half, that looks really good for a team that was much lower last season. Well, of course, different format last season, but still, I wouldn't have ranked nearly that high last season.
No, and this definitely has been the season for upsets. Like, this is upsets not in the standard way, but this is upsetting the standard balance of power in every single region.
Now, I mean, the top teams have kind of been creeping their way back up when they get stuck down early, and situations like that do get worked out. But we have teams like, for example, Ninjas and Pajamas just completely struggling this whole season. EG struggled for a while in NA. Like, it's...
But
it's been
that's the thing. In NA, SK are very much at the top, very close to the top as well. If not, I believe they're in second place right now after their last week, or maybe they're still at the top.
It's number 1 or literally 2. As we're casting them.
So there was that. EG went back up. They very quickly regained their normal positions. C9, even after losing so many matches, they still were able to creep up to the top.
It happens
to that 6th place, which means 6th or 5th place, which gives them a bit more flexibility during the during the season. So yeah, every single region definitely has the potential for the upset. So we'll see what happens in this one, though, as our top 2 teams in Latin America load into our lonesome map. It is Oregon between Team Liquid and Team One, as we start off with our ban phase.
Let the fun begin and see. I imagine those top 3 that we saw, Glaz, Lion, and Blitz, one of those is going to get banned for sure, if not at least 2 of them. So, no, there we go. And that is not uncommon, though, for Oregon, being how important hatches are on the basement. Obviously, hatches don't matter for dorms so much, but still very useful in terms of being able to open up sightlines on the attic. And there's actually Dokkaebi getting axed instead, so that means I was completely wrong. None of those top 3. So this should be an interesting match then, because that means with Blitz in play, we do see it played on Oregon quite a bit in the basement.
Oh boy, yes. Sexy K can definitely bring that up, and we've seen him doing so much work with that.
Now, I mean, it's not something that they would do every round, but I do think there's a good chance we will see him bring that out, unless he's decided it just doesn't work as well anymore, or they just don't have the strat set up for that because they've been used to being banned. But this will be interesting. Echo or Maestro? Yep, Maestro it is. And as we said earlier, he's banned a bit less than Echo, but still, if you have a good Maestro player, good idea to ban. And I know Zig plays a pretty good Maestro, so that could be Team One just deciding they don't want to deal with that, which is, you know, fair enough.
Yeah.
Starting on Laundry here.
I mean, of course, banning the Maestro, as you mentioned, leaves the Echo in play.
Yeah.
Echo, we've seen in Latin America, Echo get banned a lot more than Maestro. He offers quite a bit as well in defenses downstairs, even when they were playing in dorms. So
yeah, looks like no Echo, and they're going to change the dorms. Interesting.
Well, Blitz will still do some work.
Yeah, Sexy Kick definitely will still be able to use that, but he's going to 6-pick off it. And we've joked before about Capitao being barely used in Latin America, which is odd because, of course, he's a Latin American operator in this case.
Brazilian.
Yeah, that's still Latin America. As far as last I checked.
Yeah.
Attackers need to locate and
I mean, the Americas is the whole continent, right?
Yeah. It always surprises me that Gio isn't technically a Latin American player.
No, Central America is different.
Yeah.
It's still yeah, it's just Central America.
Depends on what you look up. I've seen it listed as Latin America too, but
really?
Yeah, I don't know. It's odd. Not for the purposes of the ESL tournaments though.
Yeah, it's just
to be clear.
Yeah.
But either way, they are going to be playing upstairs, so having a smoke upstairs does make more sense this time.
What? Super 90 for what is this?
Super 90, yeah.
You know what?
Odd choice.
So in the weekend and even today, I've been watching a lot of Year 1 VODs. So the amount of times that Frost has picked with the Sniper 90.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
It was absolutely ridiculous. And you know, looking back at it, it's a bit of an oddity because
it makes you wonder why they introduced the Boz G, right? Because it was a similar idea, just less ammo.
The sniper test, but still, the thing is, her 9mm C1 has received a buff.
Yeah,
a tiny buff.
It was always a good gun.
Yeah,
it had such low recoil. It was actually really good at long range, even.
Yeah. So that's the bit of a surprising thing to see, but you know, we'll see Ion up here in the tower. He's got GDN to help him.
That's always a nice combo when you have the one man up, one man down. We have seen that fall apart before, but they have a mute as well, and that could be helping on jamming some of that along with the holograms, just to kind of make it harder for them to suss that out. But they're not going for a tower take. They're going for west side from Junk Tower. Try and push their way towards Kitchen, which I imagine is going to be Bullet's job to open up potentially some of that wall if they need to clear that up, because they have a pulse, or had a pulse, sorry. They acted like they were going to be playing down in Kitchen, but 6 picking over to the Frost means it's less likely.
I wonder where the Frost has set up her welcome mats, as yeah, you can tell one to hold off any rotations coming in from the attackers through main window into the kids' dorm. So that's something to keep in mind. Hugzord will spot his teammates as they rotate back onto that A site. And Liquid already on the site. The smoke is going to get thrown in as PSK will get one on iBlacks. Their remote gas grenades are just going to get lobbed in as Hugzord gets one. The second will escape, but Nesk still finding a kill. With 3 players left alive for Team 1 versus the 4 of Liquid. Nesk will hit the shot. Alibi having to rotate away, and Team Liquid realized that all of their opponents were, well, 2 of them were in the big tower, so they just went around them. And you see even the Zofia there of Bullet having that French charm, French flag charm on it. Team Liquid are very much looking forward to the major in just a few days' time.
Well, unfortunately, not a great round for Team One.
Yep.
That was just, they got destroyed in there. It was a surprisingly swift attack. Yeah, the 1 kill there by the smoke, a good first kill, but they just could not seem to hold back the actual attack once it started coming in. I got to credit a lot of that too, probably to good communication and droning. They had a good idea where most of the defenders were. They did a decent job taking the west side tower and decided, you know what, we can just play from here to make this execute happen because there's just too many people further back in the site or off site to be able to defend this because, like I said, they didn't try and take from the tower where they had 2 people stationed. Just knowing that there's such a deficit in manpower, you can completely exploit that on the attack, especially with the utility they had to be able to stun, blow things up, set in fire and smoke from Capitao. It was a bit of a surprise for them. Sexcake doing the reverse of his last 6 pick. He is going to be going for that blitz because they know they could potentially be going down to Laundry.
Attackers need
We
to
also had a
locate
6th
and
pick. I
defuse
think
the
it was
bomb.
over to Legion there as well. So that will potentially surprise the blitz. So it's nice that the 6th pick there potentially being a counter as well for Sexy Cake. Although I imagine it won't be too big a problem. If they play it fast, that's the thing is if there's a Legion on the board and you know it, the faster you attack, the less goo mines you have to deal with. Because they charge over time. Or even if you don't necessarily like get the full attack going, the faster you take map control, the less you have to worry about goo mines in that area of the map.
And this is why you used to see a lot of IQ play in the past. HG also countered those because they have their visibility cloak in those goo mines.
It was good for if you were going to push with a Monty and you just want to have an idea how clear the path was first.
Yeah, well, now, no longer going to be the case with those grenades being removed from play. But Hugsword also bringing the Echo, and that'll be a great way to disorientate his enemies in general, but also take care of Sexy Cake on the Blitz. Will be interesting to see is how Team One will set up in their defense. Are going to put they're going to put a couple players upstairs? Yes, they will.
Nice thing too is it's easy to forget that Sexy Cake is also going to be bringing smokes on that blitz. So he can help with the plant because he could even potentially help cover the plant through the smoke so that even pre-fire shots through smoke won't necessarily stop the planter. Or he could be the planter. Sometimes you'll go plant turtle style with the shield on his back, and that could also help cover as well if they're not just using, you know, of course, C4 and toxic gas. But they are trying to at least guard the kitchen here, which Sexy Cake is going to be trying to take from Panico. PSK trying to drone for him to get some idea where he's positioned, but this is really just burning up ammo, and he's going to have to go for the reload. That should be when Sexy Cake pushes, and he's going to start to push in the doorway, but not quite.
And PSK giving the information, and Panico will have to fall back. That is 1 layer of defense that have been removed. They were trying to bait Sexy Cake in so their teammate upstairs in the kid's bedroom can take a shot at him. Unfortunately, the pre-opened hole not wide enough to give info on the blitz and nail that killing blow. Hugsword rotating in with his drone, trying to support his teammates as they try to deal with Sexy Cake. And iBlacks will find the first kill on Zig. Be the lion out of Sexy Cake. There you go. He spots the goo mine, but takes a bit of damage from the smoke.
There's that typical smoke upstairs that we see only in Latin America. It's such an odd way to defend this, but it tends to work here in this specific region. Bullet finally getting a kill, traded back onto iBlacks though. That means those goo mines again off the board, and there's a nice rush onto the blitz. Great play. He almost escaped down into the pantry. That's not going to be the case here. Now they've taken quite a bit more map control, but there are still quite a few defenders downstairs. Not to mention Ion, who should probably rotate back here because he's going to get pushed by this blitz now.
There you go. He'll fall back and play from the back of the stage as Panico is still in the garage. Interestingly enough, of course, with the smoke gone down, this is, you mentioned, not the first time we see it in the region especially.
Well,
and Panico not fast enough on the rotation. Sexy Cake, of course, the 2-2 will just rush into him with the shield. And there we go. They need to try to hit the feet, and Sexy Cake is somehow still alive. They've got a tiny bit of time to reset him, and they should be able to. If they can time this correctly here, they'll still have to deal with the Echo, though.
Yeah, there we go. They do manage to get the reset on him, 50% HP again. Still will probably end up dying in this push just because there's smoke still left. Or not smoke, sorry, no smoke left. But still the Echo drone to deny a little bit, but Hugsword trapped on that now.
Oh, he goes in, the hip fire not going to work, and Nesk from behind. Moving in from the meeting hall will drop down, and there you go. Runs in, gets the final kill with a quick swipe into the body of the Echo. And that's Team Liquid to put a very convincing round 2 on the board.
If I was Team 1, I would have thought more carefully about knocking out Blitz than Habon. Just off the aggression that Liquid have been able to play here on these attacks, it's been very strong. They've been losing very few people. Yeah, they lost Zig on the Lion last round, but that was pretty much the only real fatality they had going on because Sexy Cake was able to clear pretty much the entire map with the backup of his teammates, just pushing around very, very quickly. You saw he even went and cleared Panico out of the garage.
Yeah.
After all that, it was just like he was all over the map taking advantage of Blitz's speed, and that's why people were so worried when Blitz got that speed buff because, well,
were they?
He could run. I think a few people were concerned outside of ranked, maybe.
I mean, even in ranked, it was a concern, I think.
There's that Capitão.
I remember that time distinctly.
Yeah.
Back in...
Scary TTS days.
Yeah, back in February.
Thankfully, they toned it down a bit, because on the TTS originally, it was even more of a nightmare.
And
it was
Finka gave a speed boost back
then. That was cold sweat.
Oh my
sure.
god. Every smoke and Mira's nightmare.
Yeah, that thankfully was toned down. He still is a very, very strong operator, as you saw, though. But it seems like Sexy Cake is just going to keep toggling between Capitão and that Blitz. Now, they're going to be trying Laundry again. So he may have wanted to go with that Blitz, but Capitão should be just fine. Maybe he was expecting them to try Dorms again. But in this case, should be fine either way. He's still going to be very effective on that. But maybe they can't go for the exact same rush strat this time. They're going to have to be a little more careful in clearing things out without the shield to rush around. But they can still make sure, if they keep Zig a little bit safer and make sure he can help with those EE1Ds, I don't even feel like they need them for the plant. They seem to just use those to help clear the roamers out quickly.
Now, credit to Liquid, even in the first 2 rounds, that they haven't really shown anything special, anything different. They're clear.
Just aggression.
Yeah, this is just pretty standard play from the team. Nothing really out of the ordinary. You have to keep in mind that you're going to play in the biggest tournament this side of the year.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that your strategies are not revealed a bit too early.
And
I might try to go for a construction push here as iBlacks will get the first kill on Zig. You just mentioned it.
Stay alive, Zig. Stop getting in so deep into the map so early. But either way, the rest of the team do it just fine, so not to worry about that. But great playing the Vigil there and actually getting that early kill, although he's lost a bit of health. Same could be said, though, for Nest, because Sexy Cake who've taken a few shots.
See Bullet on the floor here, trying to find that close angle, but GDN will hit. That's Nesk. Now eliminated. Man on the Ash, rushing every single round. This time will get taken down, and Ion yet again. Look at the amount of damage done to Team 1, but there's not a single player finished off just yet. iBlacks ready to push in with the SMG-12 if need be. The Echo is getting information back to his teammates with his Yokais. Of course, they can use that to pounce on the attackers as they're both set up now in the bunker. Panico with a C4 connects onto DSK, and last alive is Bullet. He's going to need a bit more than just bullets to win this one out. And you know what? If there's any operator that I would love to have to try and clutch with, it's Zofia. She can do everything on her own.
Not to mention, Bullet is a very strong fragger. He may not be up there with Nesk necessarily, but he's definitely a close second. I think he's a very strong capability to pull this off. Still needs to get that diffuser, though, but is afraid of it as bait. It's an unfortunate situation to be in, as they do have smokes to be able to stop him. Could see a little bit of that feed if he looked at the right angle, potentially. But he's still got a lot of time left, and I think rotating this probably the best call, but it does mean abandoning the diffuser, which means he's going to have to frag out potentially from the stairs.
Again, he's not. Well, we're not expecting much in a 1v4, and you know, already took down one player. He still has to deal with an Echo. Still has to deal with a smoke. So got to be very careful here. Panico is just watching the entrance, and if Bullet is ready for
timing, he just came off of that.
Oh, the angle here from Panico will get the shot, and that is Bullet on the floor. And you know what? Because he's Zofia, he's Polish, so he'll try to get himself back up on the ground to withstand, and unfortunately there's just not enough. Zofia has had too many drinks at the start of the day, and she just cannot get back up.
That's how the lore in this game works, right?
I mean, yeah, Polish lore, yeah.
Polish folk tales. Well, back up the dorms we go. Maybe this will work a little bit better this time. I feel like, unfortunately, the equipment they brought for the job that time was clearly for their dorm strategy.
Yeah.
From what we saw, did not work nearly as well as having the shield. I feel like had they had the shield, they might have been able to push it a little bit better. But again, that aggression fully checked that time. It was definitely not as good as the previous rounds for sure, and where they'd been able to push a lot more aggressively and just take advantage of having something to protect themselves from those bullets. But in this case, again, Zig dying early did not help because they weren't able to lock down the defenders' positions and be able to actually pressure on them. They were fighting too many tight angles as well, where the defenders were able to kind of pressure them back with pre-firing because they only had 1 or 2 entry points they were funneling through. It ultimately backfired. Sexy Kick, again, going to just continue to trick the other team, which I appreciate. He's not doing the typical thing where we see players 6-picking the same operator over and over and over. He's actually 6-picking to different operators, changing things up. I mean, obviously we don't get to hear the comms, even though if we could, I wouldn't understand them anyways.
Easy.
But you probably would get the gist. But
You just hear Twitch, okay?
yeah, okay. I don't know why, but that's what they said. Either that or the stream sniping. Well, in this case, definitely seeing some good frags, at least frag counts coming out from Liquid, but it is ultimately only 1 point different right now. iBlacks is going to be playing that Vigil again, worked out pretty well for him last time.
The only reason we're mentioning things as they are is because the 2 rounds that Team Liquid took were very, very efficient and convincing.
Oh, very, yeah.
And that's why. I mean, the last one was kind of a shot in the dark, I guess, but still, no, we'll see how Team 1 adapt in this one. We'll remind you that even the round differential matters, not only in total, your total round differential in the season, but also your head-to-head round differential, because that is the first thing that will be used to divide between 2 teams that are on equal level in points, which these 2 are definitely close to. There's only 1 point to separate them.
Yeah, and that is why you do sometimes want to win. Make sure you win your head-to-head, just because it can help with the if you end up in a tight situation later on. Yeah. Ooh, nice shots there though, doing a lot of damage to Hugzord. Nearly dead there. He is gonna have a tough time even trying. Oh, they could potentially finish him off with that shock drone. Sexy Kick unfortunately goes off of it, but they actually could kill Hugzord with that. So the timing there not working out. I think he was hoping to use his gun instead, but nonetheless. I can't imagine he knew exactly how much damage he did because it was mostly through the window, so it would be hard to tell that you'd be able to make that kill. Either way, still unfortunate. He does have all of his jammers deployed at least, and they would potentially help prevent that shock drone from getting there as well, it looked like, depending on the angle. But he still has 1 more shock drone left here as well.
All right, let's try to peek into A from the main window. Nothing will get found. And interestingly enough, the wall downstairs in the showers is not reinforced. This has been a wall that a lot of teams when playing upstairs will have reinforcements to sit down here because you're not really using a ton of walls, like reinforced walls upstairs. Yeah, absolutely. It's the case where there's a couple of key ones, like the bunks room going into the master bedroom, of course. Sexy Kick with a nice killer onto Panico. That's a C4 off the board. That's going to be important for the push later on. And there is a second nitro cell on the mute. But he's very low on health. I got to be very careful here. What Team 1 were expecting is possibly a push directly from small tower into kitchen to try and clear into meeting hall, which is your standard type of play no matter what. We see that in every single region. We'll mention IDK, for example, in EU that does that almost every single round on Oregon. Yet somehow it works. Somehow. Predictability is the key. I think it's more refinement at that point. But Hugzord, there we go. Even with the low health, managed to get a kill on a bullet. That is an important early kill for them. But still 40 seconds left for this attack to go down. And iBlacks takes down Sexy. Yeah, and that's now 2 players off the board. Ness coming back in as he holds the white stairs. GDN will start using his gas canisters. PSK finds the angle. The players from the defense are set up in the hallway, and he just got a clean shot angle. GDN turns away at the last second, cannot find the Lion's Shed as Hugzord is low on health. Gas canister thrown into the back. PSK gets 1 kill, GDN with the second. Diffuser for PSK now. He's going to try and set it on the B site as GDN has false information. He tries to come in from the side in Zig. At distance, will find the angle looking down into the hallway. That's the only position he could have gotten pushed from. And there we go. Last kill on the smoke to drop him on the floor. Well, we are starting to see these attacks really start to slow down from Liquid. That time, not so much due to the denial like it was in the previous one on Laundry from the B side. That time, it was more just taking their time, trying to pick off as many people as possible or get angles. Surprising how long Hugzord held on that round. Usually, it's the smoke that's going to be playing in that room too, not the mute. So that was surprising. I mean, to be fair, it was not him necessarily getting caught by someone inside. It was more just some lucky shots through the window where he happened to be laying onto his legs. Had that been his head, of course, probably would have just died. You know, if he was crouched, for example, in front of that window. So good that he lived through it, but ultimately they did not win that round. But they're going to try dorms one more time. No reason for them to try and play tower or dining kitchen, obviously. No. Well, it's very important for Team One to not let Liquid have a huge advantage.
Yeah.
As we move through in the series, a 4-1 would definitely put Team One's position in a bit of a precarious one, and Sexy Cake will
yet again
switch to a Sledge.
He's getting creative.
Sledge in general has been a big pick, but it's mostly been because of Clubhouse. But he's been played quite a bit. He has obviously a decent chunk of utility that he can use. The grenades definitely add to it, and the SMG-11 on top of that.
Yep. It's quite the beast. And as we've seen time and time again, Sexy Cake is by far the most flexible player on Liquid. He is willing to play all kinds of different roles, all kinds of different
We've seen him how he
players.
sits in his seat on LAN. He's fairly flexible.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's all about being comfortable in your seat.
Yeah. I've seen some very odd ways of professional players sitting down when they're playing interact. There are people that will literally just turn around 90-degree angle to the monitor and just play with the keyboards on their thighs. Yeah, I've seen some weird stuff.
Yeah, that's.
Those were Australian players though, so.
Well, you know, they're from the down under. Their toilet goes different directions. That's all it comes down to.
The water when you flush. Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what makes you sit crooked. Either way, though, 3-1 here. Last defensive round for Team One, who have not had much of a showing on that. It's more just Liquid maybe overextending themselves on an attack is really what cost them previously. But iBlacks is still trying to play a pretty good impact here on this Vigil role. This is going to come down to timing, though, as it often does for Vigil players, especially with the way that the cloak was changed over time. Timing even more important. But he's going to hide in a nice spot right by Bullet. If he can time this right, get good calls, get good sound. But you see Bullet also has some idea, preps that Claymore. But iBlack's probably going to hear that Claymore getting placed. Hopefully will not fall for it. He does have an impact nade he could use to take it out if he has the right read on info from outside, because they do have a Valkyrie for black eye cameras to have some of those hiding out.
The thing is, the angle is so off here on the Claymore that you really need to put yourself in a bit of an exposed position to even have the angle to throw out your impact nade and take it out. So it's not really a viable run out, I guess.
Depends on if someone's far enough away from it and you know that. If you have the intel from outside, you absolutely can play it. If you don't, it's very, very risky.
Yeah, maybe if Panico has a camera outside. But that's a lot of time now being burned just by T1 standing where they are. No real exchange of fire, no real skirmish early on in the round. And at this point, it's just Team Liquid that will take control of the bedroom and, of course, the armory. And they can bring up their thermite to deal with this. There is a mute that has jammed the area. Sexy Cake will lob in a grenade, take down the barbed wire, ease their way into the hallway as you need the crossfire for an eventual push from the closet.
I like that nade bounce there too, to make sure if there's a mute jammer there, which there likely was, it would take out both the barbed wire and the mute jammer. You saw him throw his drone just shortly after that. Fortunately, the drone did get shot down, but he has an idea Hugzord's there. Not that he didn't know that anyways, but now it's going to come down to gunfights in the last 45.
It's a sweet shot there with a quick peek into the hallway, but unfortunately cannot really capitalize on position. Ion going in. No damage done, actually, in the meantime. Vigil will have to rotate around. It's odd to not see Nesk taking control of the white stairs. You'd always like to have a player coming in from the side, and iBlacks might want to impact out here and go for the fire. He doesn't even need it. No, Zig 180s and gets the kill on iBlacks. Now it's a rush in, but GDN is ready for it. Zig and Nesk, though, coming in for more. Zig with his third one here in the round. All up to Ion as the diffuser is set on the floor. And he's got to deal with the rest of the squad from Team Liquid. PSK getting one more. And yeah, that was a deafening roar from Liquid.
Like I said, those attacks seeming to slow down a bit, but when they actually come down at the end, outside of the one round down and attacking the B site downstairs, they just seem to be able to get enough intel on the positioning. Not that the positions are too different each time. We're seeing pretty similar positions being played most of the time outside of the two roamers. But other than that, they're able to get those down, get those angles working in their favor. A lot of utility working out for them as well. We did see, for example, Sexy Cake 6th pick over to the sledge and then make good use of his grenades. So they're definitely doing a good job with that. We'll see if Team 1, though, can do an equal job on attack. But this is bringing a very different lineup. Dorm's going to be the first bomb site as well for Liquid. And they are potentially going to bring that pulse. I imagine Zig probably going to stick on that because he does play a good pulse, especially on this map.
Oh, yes. So a lot of heavy play downstairs. And
he's not. As I say that, what a surprise. But the Jacko being 6th picked off, interesting choice. Going to bring that Thatcher instead.
Attackers need to locate
See how
and
they set up
defuse as
here.
many bombs as they can.
As Hugzord's bringing the game. Be an interesting way to get the rush started. Now Ying works on every single site on this map.
Well, anywhere there's a small enough room where you can push onto and go for the plant, so it's definitely going to be a case where if they can get the intel on it, they can maybe get rid of some of those ADSs and be prepared to actually just flash into, then yeah. It's definitely a case where they just have to make sure they flash as many people in the room. Now, the thing about the flashing, though, that main room is obviously there's a good chance you don't get the people on the other side in the kid's bedroom. So they have to make sure to either get holes in there or get angles from the windows potentially to pressure those people because, like I said, you won't flash them for the most part unless you can clear that room early.
Yeah, but you can play it in the how do you say, the hungry way of, you know, keep it moving, keep throwing candelas.
Absolutely, you can space them out. But again, it is not the most reliable way to attack that.
Yeah,
so
sure.
you definitely have to consider the room size and positioning of the defenders in terms of whether or not you can reliably flash them. Because you depend a lot on those flashes working. It's not like smokes where they're going to continue to linger afterwards.
Yeah.
But you can, of course, combine it with smokes if you are bringing any. But I don't think in this case they can possibly be bringing any on those attackers. Unless I'm misreading who has smokes in this case. Obviously PSK one does, but not the same kind. We're seeing Sexy Cake playing this aggressive armory. Hoping someone's going to try and push away into lobby. Bullet with an interesting deployable shield here.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense. Ella doesn't have impacts anymore.
Yeah.
So you either bring barbed wire or deployable shield, and he has no way out.
Well,
he's just in the battle. He has
I bet he
crawl
misses
hole.
his impacts, I'm sure.
Every LMA does. But he only has a crawl hole into the kitchen, and that's it. I think they're just going to put him there and just leave him. Maybe he can actually shut down a push from the white stairs.
He's a sentry at this point.
Basically.
Oh, unfortunate
no.
timing. That's one of those few times where you
Yes.
see something denied out of the air by an EMP, and then the first kill onto Nesk as well. So that's a good start for this attack to actually work here.
It's such a rare thing to see a smoke canister being destroyed by an EMP.
Yeah. Well, like I've said before, if you can actually time those right, you can actually stop C4s out of the air as well from when you're trying to go for a plant. But good luck relying on that. There's one of those canisters. There's just Bullet playing it so smart, but still losing the fight.
How does that happen? That's now 2 players off the board for Team Liquid. Bullet and Nesk, 2 of the top fraggers in here. And here you go. That's the third one on the team that's down on the floor. Nesk, Sexy Cake, and Bullet, all up to PSK and Zig. Zig goes in with the Bearing 9 and the Supernova. He'll get 1, but then the grenade will hit at the same time on PSK from Ion. And the E1D will make sure that we get a bit of fireworks at the end of the round, as now Team Liquid lose out on round 6. That's a 4-2. Very much the advantage still in the hands of Team Liquid as they'll go to Laundry and Supply Room. And will they play the Pulse? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a bomb site where he tends to play that a lot more. It could 6-pick off it again. Now we have to keep in mind as well that part of the reason we're seeing aggressive attacks win and being a little more attacker-sided is the ban phase did not ban some of the more aggressive attackers, in this case like Ying or Lion, some of these ones that can help facilitate more aggressive pushes. Now, that's not the only factor, of course, 'cause, for example, we saw Zig die early a couple times on that line. But it still definitely forces a much more difficult roam play and less counter-aggression sometimes. We're going to see a 6th pick to mute, though. Again, Sexy Cake kind of a Bogart in that 6th pick. Making sure no one else gets the switch. Other than Zig did last round, I guess. But we'll see how it goes for Laundry this time. They, oddly enough, this is not the one where they 6th-picked Thatcher. So they are going to have a mute to jam that hatch, I imagine. Now, they have 1 hard breacher of GDN, so they're going to have to be careful how they use that thermite charge, though, if they want to open that lobby hatch.
Yeah, knowing how Liquid...
Oh, sorry, they can't bring Habana. It's banned.
Exactly. You can see it on top, of course. We have all of our 4 operators that are banned, in addition from last week.
Oddly enough, the screen I'm looking at doesn't have that.
Yeah, we switched them around.
Yeah.
Say that. It's our fault.
Yeah.
But still, Team 1, as you mentioned, only has 1 hard destructor. And with the way that Team Liquid likes to play, we might even see them playing upstairs. And if they can deny a thermite or at least slow their opponents down, that can really hurt Team 1 in that push.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, though, in terms of whether or not they're able to shut down any of the roamers early and give themselves some man advantage to make this work a little bit better, because they do have that Lion to be able to kind of deny them the ability to roam. Combined with the Jackal, it's a very effective combo, assuming you can even use the Lion to help the Jackal get in a little bit easier and get more access to those footprints without being pushed back on as aggressively. Not to mention, he can play a little bit of that buck roll like we've talked about with that shotgun. Make it so that if they're able to track anyone from above, he can open up holes in the floor. Let's see, though, seeing some good camera positions here that are going to help them have some idea how to push back against this, but also combined with the pulse means they should have a lot of intel once there's attackers in the building, but they're actually not pushing in very aggressively. They're doing a lot of droning first.
Yeah, they're unsure of the positions of Team Liquid. And, you know, all you're here now the Jackal doing is just opening up the floorboards to have an angle into the staircase. Very standard here, just in case somebody wants to go for a quick peek. Usually, you'll see a smoke doing that here and there. The shotgun being pushed up very close can very much help the defenders in dispatching a quick shot into a attacker and giving them the advantage.
Very standard Zig play here, playing that cubby like he usually does with that pulse. Something he's been doing for a very long time, and, well, it never really stopped working.
Oh, C4 is going to get thrown up. Now Hugzord is on the floor. They have down the Ying. It's a pretty big hit here. They'll be able to pick her back up at 50 health. And Nitro Cell, you know what? Connects, but not enough to really finish off the round. Unfortunately,
that's almost a waste of a Nitro Cell. To only get 50 health off someone, I mean, it does delay the attack, but to only get 50 HP for a Nitro Cell, is, especially on a bomb site like this, not great.
All right, we'll get to see there's still at least one extra C4 played on Neskin. There you go, Sexy Cake even has one, so there's 2 C4s available on the defenders. See, they can just rotate down from the meeting hall and contest against the attackers of Team 1. So far, so calm. Smoke's going to get thrown into the meeting hall. Sexy Cake will get the kill on Panico as he peeks in. Gets the quick frag, and that's Zig for another one on a Hugzord to contest them. Zig with 3 kills up in those main stairs as Team Liquid stand in their grounds. We'll go in and get the last one on the Jaeger. Zig, absolute god. C4 or not, those bullets are definitely explosive.
That is such classic Zig. He'll just play off the intelligence. He'll know exactly where they're at the entire time, and then he'll just rush up those stairs. It's like, it's one of those trademark moves that is just, it blows my mind that it still works time and time and time again, because it's all about just the right timing on it, knowing when to do it, communicating with your team, and he knows that right timing, and it's so hard to counter against because he can see you, but you can't see him unless you're bringing IQ. You don't know that he's there. You don't know that he's going to do that, and he just times it right every time. I liked the trade back there, too, from onto Panico. As soon as he threw that smoke, he was, like, waiting, holding that smoke forever to throw it into the meeting hall doorway. As soon as he throws it, gets shot.
Yeah.
It was just great timing by the defenders, who just crushed them the minute they actually started to make an attack happen there.
And that's the thing, because the defenders also made a ton of sound and fire from the meeting hall, the attackers kind of turned their attention to that area, but it was too little too late as Zig is already pushed in front of them, and he'll get the 3K spray to put Team Liquid on match point with 5-2. Yeah. Liquid, again, on the defense, of course, are playing on the dorm site. Now, there are impacts that are being played by the Smoke at PSK. We're seeing a lot of Smoke with impact being played, but mostly on maps where you would be impacting Thermite charges or X-Kairos.
Yep. Well, we'll see if they can manage to bring back at least one more round here, because it's looking very, very Liquid dominated this time. And we were talking about they don't even necessarily need to be using their top tier strats, because they're going to want to save at least some of those for Paris. But that being said, those may be ones they're saving to fight against other regions, maybe not necessarily against Latin American regions, so they can use their this is versus Latin America strats. You know, they're saving their counter strats for the other teams, for specific teams. But then again, we know that they work very hard as a team, but their new philosophy is to very much relax when it comes to actually playing the matches themselves and just trust their training.
Yeah, international play is very different, of course, than regional play, and you need to learn and adapt even faster to your opponents, because on LAN, hey, you lose one match against a region, you might have to play that same region again, and suddenly you find yourself with 2 losses and being out of the tournament, where just by advancing past the group stages, you would have made a considerably more amount of money.
It's obviously a big thing too, is that knowing that half the teams going are not going to be shown on stream. meaning you will not make it to the main stage because they will be cut during group stages, which means there's a chance you may go all the way out there and not be seen on camera.
I mean, you might see them in the stands.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, on stage,
Yeah, it's very different. Like, you've seen some of the players remind you the East versus West show match that we had at Six Invitational. The players that were there are people that unfortunately were not able to make it way past the group stages.
Yeah.
So you got to see them playing there, and they were ecstatic. Talking to them later is just completely different than playing in the back or even on a small stage. The big stages of Siege definitely are awe-inspiring for players and viewers alike.
Well, it's good to see Zig switching back to the Echo. Now they're back on dorms again. We saw some decent play from him previously, as the pulse play makes a lot more sense for the way he plays basement. Panico is going to be bringing that Thatcher again. Seems like the Thatcher is definitely more so for their dorms attack, as they did not bring it for the laundry. Didn't seem the need to, although that obviously that attack failed pretty miserably towards the end. They are getting set up for this master bedroom push. They have the wall open. They have Thermite carrying the diffuser. They're getting ready for it. And then, of course, Panico can try and clear out anything that might be in the room so that Hugzord can go for these Candelas, as he is yet to set up his Claymore as well to cover this. So the attack going to have to come down probably within the next 30 seconds here.
PSK has one reinforced wall to help him, but he also has to deal with the white stairs. Mentioned them before. The crossfire from kids' dorms and white stairs is very important for a defense here, no matter which way the attackers are coming. They have a spot on one player on the outside. Zig will take some fire as he rotates in. Panico gets the spray through the bedding. And now it's iBlacks with another one on to Nesk. The three remaining defenders are playing in the back of the set. As you hear the Candelas pushing them away. GDN will go in for the plant as Hugzord sprays in, but no, he'll get shot down from the back. Sexy Cake with 2 kills as Panico gets one. Bullet with one more onto Panico as iBlacks will turn it into a 1v2. Bullet against iBlacks and Ion, the Lion and the Sledge. So they are set up to play against him. Will he try to stick the diffuser? iBlacks will hear the diffuser being rattled in as Bullet will still get the kill on Ion. And now he might actually be able to stick this. He still has a lot of time. He's expecting somebody to push in from below. Unfortunately, the reinforced wall on the side. Oh no, iBlacks will try to rush in. He sprays onto the side. The Jaeger will be detected, and iBlacks will clutch the round of the kill on Bullet. So close there for Bullet. Calm and collected, realizing the amount of time that he has there at the end. Unfortunately, the E1D, perfectly timed from the Lion, will use it to get information and a pre-fire with the angle grip of the Vector. Takes down the Jaeger.
Well, a good last use of that EE1D, that's for sure, because that locked it down to where he could actually win that fight. So smartly played, because honestly, Bullet had a good chance of winning that just because he was playing it very smart on his timing. Although there was a chance that Lion could have burned enough time that he would have been able to defuse it successfully despite getting the kill. But either way, good use of a spare EE1D. I imagine he had to wait a while for the cooldown as well. But they are going to have to play, or not, well, I guess they don't have to, but they're going to play Kitchen. So this should be interesting. They could have gone dorms yet again. This might actually give Team 1 a chance to catch up here. This could result in a tie if they're not careful in terms of some of these rounds, because it only takes 2 more rounds before it is a tie. Now, of course, Liquid cannot lose this match because they've got the 5. But
either way, it'll be a negative tie because it allows each team to get 1 point and they just move up one up.
That's true. It cancels any kind of real movement except for the teams below them.
And the thing is, if the teams below them, FaZe Clan at 3rd place, if they win their match today,
they'll jump over.
They'll jump up and have the ability to tie against Liquid in the top. And that's something to keep in mind. Depending on the round differential, we might just see it switch around. And that's why every single play day really does matter. And on top of that, this is the last play day before the Paris Major, but also we won't be playing Pro League until September. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Latin America does not play until September 12th or 13th. So
somewhere in that week.
It'll be a while before we get to see them play again.
Yeah, they'll definitely be, I mean, they may have some other regional tournaments going that might help keep them fresh, I suppose, but that is, that's definitely not the same as this level of play. So, we'll see. They are going to be playing a bit different of a defense here, obviously being a different bomb site. They're going to set up a lot of rotations. We know this is a very, very hard bomb site to deny. The Jackal actually could make it even harder to deny because they're going to trap those positions, be able to fight, for example, maybe those showers a little bit better. He did get the buff to his range, so if he can find some safe angles, he might be able to get footprints without having to get too far into the building. That is a lot to ask here. These outside cams being used.
Oh no, bullet!
Timing.
Oh no, he can't get the shot as
He doesn't die though. That's the important thing. He didn't take any damage or anything, but managed to get back into sight.
at least the wall is reinforced there to help him out.
That could have been really bad.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate the gusto though.
PDW-9 being used by Hugsword here on the Jackal.
Again.
And it's definitely not something that would happen often. I'm surprised the PDW-9 even has an ACOG available.
Yeah, we've been seeing it more lately for whatever reason. Just maybe player preference. Then again, like we saw the Super 90 earlier as well too, so you never know. There's the last or second to last gas canister though getting thrown out early with still a minute 44 left. Just trying to deny Showers because Showers is such an important crossfire. They need to hold it for as long as possible.
I mean, you don't really have to rely on a smoke on the defense on the side here.
No, not so much. Echo is a bit more of a bit more of an important one, but he's not even being played. So, surprisingly, Zig decided not to. They'd rather have cameras.
Oh, Echo has cameras, I guess, right?
Yeah,
oh,
movable ones, oddly enough.
Yeah.
There we go. Sexy though, unfortunately down, but not finished off at least.
He'll be down on the floor as he tries to run away. Zig will move back from the balcony into the main bedroom. And last gas canister is going to get thrown in. It's a minute left on the clock. As you see, Bullet eyeing the entryway here from the main doorway. Cannot find anybody just yet. PSK, will the gamble work out? Yes, it will. Hugsword will get shot down. And that's the Jackal out of play. The Ella, though, will get expended. Not sure why Sexy Cake was going for a push there. Still, E1D will get used and try to put the smoke in position as literally all of Liquid freeze in place as the diffuser will get set down. And now they go in. Ion and GDN will get a kill each, but Nesk immediately turns it into a 2 versus 2. Zig, what a headshot on one. Can he find the second? No, he cannot. Zig on the floor. Nesk trying to bait out for the shot as Ion will take the damage. Diffuser is set in an open position though. Nesk might be able to get this one off the table. Ion, does he have a bit of information to play with? Yes, he does. And there we go. The drone was on the floor. Ion gets the call, goes in for the kill, and finds the headshot on a Nesk before the Bandit can get the full spray on him. I think Nesk there was trying to go for the kill, but was aiming more towards the window and not the player that had gone up the staircase in the small tower.
Well, unfortunate for Liquid now, they are 1 point away from actually, going from 3 points to just 1. Not a great position to be in, and that was a risky play trying to bring that kitchen out. I feel like they wanted to just go back to laundry. They've lost dorms twice now on defense, so they decided, you know what, let's try something different. If it doesn't work out, we'll go back to laundry because we can. So I appreciate there's some strategy there, and they did do a really good job of holding off that attack for a long time. Unfortunately, once the diffuser was planted, it was pretty much a free-for-all deathmatch at that point, and just did not work out in Liquid's favor, although barely so. I think they had a good fight, and I feel like maybe he should have just stuck the diffuse plant. Might have been able to pull it off, but it is such a long diffuse. Hard to say for sure. There's that pulse coming out again from Zig, 6th pick, so he wasn't revealing it, but I got to imagine they were expecting them to go laundry this time, so that's probably not too unpredictable. We'll see though. They are bringing the Thatcher for a laundry attack this time, which maybe they weren't predicting this then because they had not been bringing that in the past, had not seemed to feel like they needed it.
It works fine. You have mute below, right?
Well, not only that, but you also deny Pulse for a little short period of time because chances are when you hit the hatch, you may also hit him, which is going to deny his heartbeat sensor for a short period of time. But that is an early example. Now, we talked about before the trend towards Thatcher disabling gadgets rather than destroying them. That is an example from the original game before new intro operators were introduced where that was the case. It would just deny his sensor for a short period of time. It also denies sights, gun sights for a short period of time too, depending on the gun sight, but that's not as big a factor as denying the heartbeat sensor.
We'll see how Team 1 maneuver in this as they go up, try to take control of the top floor. They've kind of been used to Latin American playstyle. Really, Latin America has pioneered this sort of thing with having one or two players playing offsite, and sometimes back in the day where you actually saw a lot of Mira play, one of the two Mira windows would be even played up here or in the bathroom. That's something even KS back with his team used to do in Europe. So Unfortunately, it won't be the case, as it'll be a standard meeting hall defense. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Possibly Liquid just wanting to play it safe. But also very important, because if they lose this round, and as you mentioned, Devin, it'll be a 5-5 tie, and each team gets a point.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. Obviously, Team 1, that's the best they can hope for right now, so they're obviously looking for that. They're doing a good job clearing the tower and securing that first, so also being very thorough and careful. Fortunately, they only have 2 thermite charges, so they're going to use one of those to open up the attic a little bit here, but there is someone pushing into the attic, it looked like. Nope, Bullet decided to go back down, and now push back up. He is going to get caught with that drone before he shoots it, so they have some idea what to counter here, and 2 grenades left. Not sure if there's any ADSs on the other side, but those would definitely help. As Flashbang goes out to test it, nope, no ADS. That means grenades can work if he tries to push back against that again.
I'm not sure if that was C4 that was thrown in. A grenade will get lobbed into the back, but defenders have already fallen back. Bullet is already in meeting hall, and he's fairly happy with the outcome of that. He burns utility from the attackers, no real cost to health himself, just wasting time. And there we go. That was a nitro cell that was used. Unfortunately, it missed the sledge, but just a hair.
No, not to mention that it does give him an angle that he's using, so it definitely was not a complete waste, but unfortunately there, the push from the back starting to work here via Panico.
How does that happen? The entire push turns into a construction play as PSKs hold up with 1 gas canister. That's the quick shot on the Ion. The sledge eliminated, but they also lose the pulse in the meantime, and that's now smoke out of play. 2 versus 4 is Liquid looking close to losing this one out, really technically. Getting the tie. C4 is going to get thrown in, and it will not connect, unfortunately. Bullet is watching, though, the hallway from the back. Tap-out crossbow bolts will get thrown in as Panico gets the kill onto Bullet. Nesk will have to rush in. Unfortunately, all of his shots are to the side. He will deny it. Huxor gets one, but GDN with the last one. It was a 1v1 at the end, and the crossbow bolt almost ruined the entire round for Team 1. A close game, but unfortunately, it'll be a draw, a 5-5 between Liquid and Team 1, and, well, that's 1 point each. Unfortunate.
Well, remember what I said about the community votes there? The case of it probably should have been 50-50, or at least a lot more on the draw, because that's exactly what we got. So the top 2 teams stay, the top 2 teams in their respective positions, thanks to the time. I mean, that's good for Team 1, though. Keeping this position is obviously good, although win would have been significantly better.